Jeff, we all know the number one pick, Auston Matthews, but kind of a surprise here and there of what the Maple Leafs did the rest of the draft, especially in the second round. Can you enlighten us why they went where they did in the second round?
Okay, I'm glad you asked that, because if you look at the strategy this year by the Toronto Maple Leafs, I mean, every year we talk about, players that go through the draft and then turn out to be, late bloomers. Guys, slip through the draft, never drafted, signed by a team, and then pick up their NHL careers. If you have a look at what the Maple Leafs did with 5 players specifically, Yegor Korshkov is one, Brooks, Bobylov, Walker, Shabikin. These are all players that have gone through the draft. And in Korshkov, Brooks, and Walker's case, guys that have gone through the draft twice. So there was this real sort of uncovering of prospects that were late bloomers that the Maple Leafs went through, where a lot of teams will look at the draft and say, well, you know what, if he doesn't get selected as an 18-year-old, the development curve is off, and don't bother with him, look the other way. The Maple Leafs this year looked like, after Auston Matthews said, you know what, screw that. We're taking the players that are best available in the draft right now, even if they've gone through the draft a couple of times. We saw it early with Yegor Korshkov, the big Russian winger. Good size, good hands, really good for a possession-style game, as scouts have told me, because I've never seen the kid play. They had a really interesting take on it this year. And as we saw as well, George, while last year the Maple Leafs drafted small, skilled hockey players, this year they went to the land of giants. These are all large, young men that the Maple Leafs took this season.
Jeff Marek, our guest, host of the NHL and the CHL and Sportsnet. You covered the draft, did a terrific job hosting everything this weekend, kept everything in perspective and explained it all very, very well. So explain this to me. Okay. As you mentioned, this is UFA time where people get to open up, their teams get to open up their trench coats and show players what they got inside. And I think what we're seeing now, because it's unlike anything I've experienced when you're a fan of the Toronto Maple Leafs and you're in this city and everything is Toronto-centric, there's a real distinct possibility that if you look at things from a real common sense perspective, the Detroit's window of opportunity is quickly closing despite clearing room by getting rid of Datsuk's contract on the weekend and sending that over to Phoenix so they can get to the floor. And then you look at Buffalo. Buffalo's still Buffalo. And Toronto is for the first time, maybe in a long time, very attractive to guys like one Steven Stamkos.
Yep, certainly is. And, we've been hearing that one. Even going back a couple of seasons as well, that Steven Stamkos want to come home and play with the hometown Toronto Maple Leafs. But if you're Steven Stamkos, you have a look at the teams that'll be lining up for him. And now by clearing out Pavel Datsyuk, the Detroit Red Wings will be in that mix. They can afford to pay $10 million to a free agent after getting out from underneath the weight of that $7.5 million for Pavel Datsyuk. I expect the Montreal Canadiens to be in that mix. We expect the Buffalo Sabres to be in that mix. It wouldn't surprise me if the New York Islanders were in that mix, and maybe some surprise teams out there that we haven't even heard of. And the interesting thing about this one too, not since Zdeno Chara have we seen an unrestricted free agent hit the market at a relatively young age, a player that's still in his prime. This isn't everybody lining up outside Brad Richards' agent's office for a player who's in the back nine of his career, but probably had a couple of more really good seasons for him. This is someone that's still in that sweet spot of 26 years old. That's what makes Steven Stamkos certainly most attractive. And if you're a Maple Leafs fan, this could be back-to-back home runs by the organization. Matthews one week and then Steven Stamkos the next. So I guess we'll see what happens come Friday on free agent day.
Explain something to me. What are the Leafs, or any other team for that matter, but in our situation because we're here, what are the Toronto Maple Leafs saying to Steven Stamkos? What are they doing? Take us through this courtship process prior to the actual free agency window being open.
First thing is get rid of the money. Let's get the money talk over really quick. Let's agree on the price point. His representation will have a number in mind. And if you don't hit that number, there's no point in even having the rest of the conversation. So that's the first thing they'll have. Then you'll talk about what else the organization can do for you. You'll talk about the city. The minute a salary cap came in, Dean, all of a sudden players just didn't make decisions based on the number. It became, the number plus, my lifestyle, my family, where can we settle, where are the places we can live, what can the city afford me. Taxation is a huge one as well. That's always worked against teams like the Montreal Canadiens, and even though the taxation rate is still high, it doesn't seem to be a factor for players that want to go play with the New York Rangers. So those will be some of the things that they'll look at. They'll have an entire package laid out for Steven Stamkos, all the teams will, of what A, the team can do for them, and B, what the city can do for them as well.